Hello, my lovely rose garden. I'm Avalon Roselin, indie author, and it is finally time. The members of Starcat Studio and I wrapped up production on the first book in the Alliance saga, Clouded Moon, Shifting Roots. So I thought I would make a video guiding you, and my future self, through the process of uploading a manuscript to my printer, IngramSpark. Step 1. Finalize the manuscript. Depending on a number of additional details, this step will vary in how long it takes. Starcat Studio had a lot of art they wanted to include to make this book extra special for the fans, and all of that required some extra planning and proofing for the final manuscript to be ready. The steps for finalizing a manuscript will typically include editing, whether this includes broad content edits, sensitivity reading, or line-by-line edits for grammar and syntax, will depend on your comfort level and budget. I strongly recommend a line editor to help fine-tune the writing itself. I've noticed that I have become a much stronger writer overall by analyzing my editor's feedback. And if you are writing about minority groups that you do not belong to, a sensitivity reader is strongly advised. Formatting. There are a lot of ways to go about formatting nowadays. One thing to consider is if your file type will be printed in paperback or ebook. You will want to have separate files for each printing type. Ebooks usually use EPUB or MOBI file types and will more readily support full-color images, but you'll likely want to remove page numbers and double-check that any special formatting, like line breaks or page breaks, are set up properly. IngramSpark will only accept EPUB files for ebooks if that matters to you. Files for printed copies should be in PDF and reviewed carefully. This is where proof copies come in handy to check for any issues in readability such as font size, font choice, image placement, image quality, and so on. You can hire a formatter for your book, as I did with the 5th year anniversary release of Like Falling Stars, or you can do it yourself. In the past, I've used Book Design Template to help me format my books. This time I'm using Atticus, which is supposed to be an all-in-one program for authors to write and format their works. You may also want to explore other options like Calibre or Vellum for ebooks, or InDesign for paperback. If you are working with a book file that has a lot of images, save yourself a bit of a headache and make sure that you are using JPEG images on plain white backgrounds. Trust me, trying to compress transparent PNG images into a file for printing or even ebooks is a massive headache and caused a ton of issues with the Shifting Roots ebook that negatively impacted the reading experience for several people. It isn't something I would have thought of prior to the series since I never had that many images in a book before, but the lesson is learned. Front matter. Front matter is all that stuff in a book before the actual story starts. The copyright, the publisher information, the no authors were harmed in the making of this book disclaimer. You've seen them in just about everything you've ever read. Atticus provides a template for it, but you can honestly crack open any book and find a handy example. I also like to add content warnings, as well as a special thanks page for my supporters, and sometimes a quote that I think fits the book well. One of the most important things that goes in the front matter, and will have a step all on its own, is assigning an ISBN. In the West, at least, an ISBN is a unique identifier for your book, and every format needs its own, meaning paperback, hardcover, and ebook versions of the same work will all have separate ISBN numbers. Some printers will offer to assign their own version of an ISBN to your work for free. However, this can limit the distribution opportunities of your book to that specific platform. As pricey as it can be, I do recommend that you purchase your own ISBN and register it yourself. This can be done at Bowker, aka myidentifiers.com. ISBN numbers are cheaper in a larger bundle, so if you know you want to write multiple books, such as a series or many short stories or novellas, the more you can buy at one time, the better. ISBNs do not expire and will always belong to you. And by purchasing your own ISBN, you can also register your book's information to the Books in Print database. IngramSpark provides a barcode, so I don't buy barcodes with Bowker. You can, though, if you want to. Bowker also provides some publication services. I've never used them personally, but if you did want to have a professional assist you with cover design, formatting, and editing, but aren't sure where to find someone, you might check their quotes to see what you could expect to pay for these services and possibly hire their staff to help you. The actual process of assigning the ISBN is pretty easy. You'll need to enter identifying information about your book like the title, author, any other contributors' names, genre, and age demographic. There are a few required fields that you might not have thought about before, such as a specific publication date, or maybe you don't know exactly what you're going to charge for your book yet. Worry not, you can save your progress and come back to change the details later on down the line if you are assigning your ISBN well in advance of actual publication. There's also a cloning feature that comes in handy when you have multiple formats of the same book to register, which allows you to upload your paperback and ebook files in the same setup. If you need to come back later and add a new format, you can also duplicate one entry and change only the parts that you need to change instead of having to copy-paste and get mixed up on which file is which. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience or anything. Also, when you export your files, make sure that you don't forget to put the correct ISBN on the correct file. So many times I have exported both the PDF and the EPUB file using the paperback ISBN because I forgot to change it when I exported the EPUB, and then I have to go back and change it. It isn't a huge deal, but it is an annoying waste of a few minutes that you can spare yourself. Once all of that is finished, it's time to actually get the manuscript uploaded. The bulk of this part of the tutorial is going to be focused on the cover designer because it is the bane of my existence and the main thing that sets paperback printing apart from ebook printing because, well, an ebook doesn't have a front and back cover to format. I usually just use the front cover by itself for the ebook cover. Maybe I might include the back cover as a separate image in the EPUB. Honestly, the rest is pretty self-explanatory once you're on Ingram's website and signed into your account, but I'll cover some more on that in just a bit. So step 1. Go to the book cover calculator and select your desired options for your print copy. You will need your ISBN and your final PDF to get an accurate page count rounded up to the nearest even number. This is part of how the generator determines spine width. The generator will then spit out a shiny template for you to use in the uploading process. Step 2. Determine which program you're going to use to edit the template. Personally, I use Inkscape. Now open the template in your PDF editing software of choice. Place your front cover, back cover, and spine art into the template. The actual sizes of these images should be bigger than the template. You'll need to resize down to fit into the template by drag and dropping the corner boxes. If you make your cover art to fit the template size, the final copy will come out blurry and low res. It's always better to start with something bigger and then size it down into the template. Ideally, you'll already know what you want your print size to be and should design the cover art to fit that size. I've gotten mixed messages on whether or not you need to move the generated barcode on the template or not. I think if you have a nicely designed back cover and you don't want the barcode to get in the way of an art feature, Mike Wazowski style, you can set where the barcode will appear yourself. Otherwise, if you leave it alone, Ingram will automatically take care of it. Export the completed template into a PDF and upload it to your IngramSpark creation. The rest is honestly pretty user-friendly and step-by-step. Just follow the process that IngramSpark lays out, and it's pretty hard to go wrong. That is, until... My main problem always comes with the validation step, which is when Ingram's bots go through your files to try to make sure everything was uploaded correctly and then tell you if you made an error. I have never uploaded a file to IngramSpark and not had it kick back to me with an error, usually something really minor that readers and I would never notice, but by the gods, the bots will make sure I address it. The issue lies in that it isn't always clear how to fix the problem, and Ingram can be a little testy about letting you move forward to order proofs anyway to see if it's a problem that actually matters to the readers. It does seem that in recent years the feedback has gotten a bit more responsive about explaining the problem and possible solutions, as you can now download a PDF that contains additional details, but it can get really annoying to see an error message, try to fix it, re-upload the file, and then get told that the exact same error is still there even after you already did what it said to do to fix it. Repeat this process until you feel your sanity slipping away from you as you desperately search the help center for what to do for the problem, because when you go to your files to correct it, the problem is not there. What do you mean my logo is 600 dpi? The original file has it set to 300 dpi, and I even modified its resolution in Inkscape to be 96. How can it have ever been over 600, let alone still be over 600 after I made several edits to lower its resolution? Lastly, always order a few proof copies before you go ahead and order a full box, no matter how close to your deadline it is or how confident you feel. Trust me. That's how you end up with an entire box of unsellable copies of Dark Lightning that have a critical typo in the second sentence, and in addition to being out over $100, now have to find a way to get rid of these. I was very lucky to have a fan base that was more than happy to overlook this imperfection in exchange for using these copies as advanced reader copies, but man was that embarrassing and frustrating. A handful of proof copies, or even just one, can save your wallet in a big way. Make sure you plan 2 to 3 extra weeks into your release schedule to receive, review, and make adjustments to your proof copies before you go back to IngramSpark to OK the books for distribution, at which time readers can begin placing their pre-orders or ordering directly off sites like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo if you don't want to do a pre-order campaign. And that's it. Until you find a few errors that somehow escaped your notice through the editing process, and then you have to re-upload corrected files. Fortunately, you can upload corrected files for free for 60 days after publishing. Just be aware that distribution and availability will be affected while IngramSpark catches up to the changes, and you will need to reauthorize distribution. Publishing is always a very emotional process for me, with lots of ups and downs, high stakes and high stress. But hopefully with this guide, you, and future Avalon, will have an easier time handling it. Was this useful? Are there other questions you have? I might not have the answers, but it would be nice to know what they are. Leave me a comment and let me know. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to see your name here or in the description below, please consider joining my Patreon. Your support means so much to me and allows me to continue making content. If you want to support my content in different ways, consider buying my books, donating on Ko-fi, subscribing to the channel, or even just giving this video a like and comment. Any and everything is appreciated so much. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden!